I want to briefly talk about the ratings for NXT and AEW from last week. They came out earlier today, so that's the one thing that has me a little happy that our podcast was delayed today because of over here where I live, there was a lot of snow. My kids were home from school, so I had to kind of take care of that. But the ratings came out, and AEW last Wednesday did overall 663,000 viewers, and NXT did 810,000. Now, that is a pretty big difference compared to the last few weeks where pretty much AEW has been winning. And the 1 week that NXT did win was by like a hair. Interesting thing, though, to keep in mind, and the reason I mentioned this now, because we're going to be reviewing AEW and NXT on Thursday afternoon. So by then, we'll get the ratings for those two shows. And it's interesting because obviously this was done before a holiday, these two shows, before Thanksgiving. NXT was coming off a big push from Survivor Series and War Games and Monday Night Raw and all the shows before that. And the thing I found really interesting is if you hear other content creators talking about this, they all mention the demographics, because obviously the big demographic goal for any show or any TV program is 18 to 49. That's what they want, or 18 to 39, I believe it is. But the average viewer age for AEW and WWE is 45 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, 45. Now, yeah, I mean, not, which is why it's a concern for both shows. You know, it means that there's not a lot of young people watching the show. And, you know, for all the criticism, because the reason I'm bringing this up is because you hear a lot of other content creators, other podcasters kind of make fun of the fact that WWE tends to win the older demographic and AEW always wins the younger demographic, even though overall both shows are averaging an older audience. And I say to myself, that's actually probably not a bad thing for WWE, and I'll tell you why. The younger audience right now is kind of jumping back and forth. They're kind of jumping in the water and then jumping back out. This older audience that's watching wrestling right now, these are the guys who watch the Monday Night Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the guys who go to your events. These are the guys who pay for the tickets, pay for the you know, the replica belts. You know, they're older. They're already into their career. They've made money. So even though the rule of thumb on TV is to win that younger demographic, wrestling is a different beast altogether. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be going for the younger demographic. You should be. But if this is how it stays with this older audience, then even though these ratings are horrible for both shows, WWE is going to will eventually just bleed AEW to death.
Uh-huh.
Because WWE has resources that AEW doesn't. And I don't mean money, because we know Tony Khan has money. But the kind of revenue generated by the WWE right now, you know, AEW doesn't have a crown jewel or 4 events going on in Saudi Arabia that bring in hundreds of millions of dollars for the company. Yeah, you know, exactly. AEW doesn't have an NXT that looks to be like they're going to start expanding it now. I mean, if they leave Full Sail in March and they start going to bigger arenas because, you know, they want to make that look good on TV, it's not a good look for your program if you're trying to say that this is the best wrestling on TV, but you got 800 people in your audience. You know what I mean? So I can understand why they want to leave Full Sail. So what do you think? I mean, that's my assessment, but based on the ratings, that's why I think the ratings tomorrow that we'll get on Thursday is really going to tell a story. You know, if they stay similar to this, in my opinion, that's not a good sign for AEW.
Of course not. But so what I think is the reason why NXT did so well, especially last week, is because of one man and one man only. Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, Adam Cole.
Okay, I just always wanted to do that. But anyway, but on a serious note, I don't really understand the whole demographic thing and why it's so important.
Yeah.
But because that's what I've always seen. It's like, especially the past 2 weeks with AEW losing to NXT in the ratings, everyone's like, "Oh my god, well, they beat them in ratings, but AEW's got the demographics." I'm like, but why does that matter? Like, why? And how do they even calculate that? I don't know. But to me, I don't really care about demographic. I care more about the ratings, but not as like I'm gonna be like all over it, but like I want ratings to for both shows to be good. But if you're going to be especially going for a higher demographic, so if you get all those listings and it's saying, okay, you're averaging about 45-year-olds, right? So make that adults now. Make it more of an adult entertainment. I'm not saying
Yeah.
bring back bra and panties matches, but, throw a S word in there, be more like bloody and grungier, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
But you don't need to keep being PG-13 because PG-13, you only have it so you could get the younger crowds. But if you're not getting any more younger crowds, then just advertise to the older crowds. But WWE won't do that. AEW, I could see, would do that. But AEW has its own problem, and we'll discuss more about AEW's problems on Wednesday because I have a lot of major things I have problems with and why I don't think they're going to grow as a company and why they will fail in the next 5 years if they
Yeah.
don't change things. But for NXT, their ratings are good because they produce great television and they know where they're catering to. They know where they're going. They know who they're advertising to, and they know what they're doing. They have a good wrestling mindset. So that's why NXT, I honestly believe, will keep winning throughout. Maybe it'll fluctuate here and there if, say, some big name from WWE jumps ship and goes to AEW. Maybe you'll see the ratings flip there. But honestly, ratings are just ratings.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, obviously the ratings do matter, and
Yeah.
for those listening, it's not. And don't get me wrong, it's not that we're not aware that AEW has won the majority of the ratings since its debut. I want to make that clear because I know we're kind of making it sound like NXT's been winning. No,
Oh, no.
NXT's only won twice, but we're kind of thinking long term. See, these first 2 months that AEW's been on there, they're the new toy, so to speak. They are the new kid on the block. They came in hot, and while I understand the ratings dip for both shows last Wednesday, and I understand the surge for NXT is due to the Survivor Series and everything WWE has done to put them over. 663,000. That's a huge dip.
That's plummeting.
That's a huge dip. So that's why I'm very interested to see how things are going to turn out when we come back here on Thursday after Wednesday's shows,
Yeah.
and we discuss and get the ratings because that last show AEW had was not very good.
Oh, it put me to sleep.
It was not good at all.
It literally put me to sleep.
Yeah. I don't know who in their right mind decided that Scorpio Sky should have a title match, and that's not to say anything bad about Scorpio. He's as talented as they come, but he's over with SoCal Uncensored. He's not over as a solo act.
Exactly.
So